All right, we're back. We whatever we cut out.
We had
Yeah.
some technical difficulties of
yeah.
high regard.
But and we were still yapping
About
even
being
after
old.
We cut out, yeah. But I don't know what Devin's. We talked about the Four Nations face off. We got off topic a lot. So like we didn't really talk about much. That's
Football's out of season. Talk about being old, so
Yeah.
like that's when you know it's.
Yeah. So we're done with that, and now what we're gonna do is bracketology for the 2025 March Madness bracket. Both of our teams are doing pretty well so far this year. As we're looking now, Purdue,
So hard.
your Boilermakers. Right now, the 3 seed, but they will drop.
This is as of 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So
This is before Michigan State.
even though Purdue only lost, like the loss was Michigan State, I would expect them to drop to 4. Still, like probably just swap places.
Yeah, I would think.
Because
Yeah.
Michigan State's a 4 on here.
God, but I don't want Michigan State to move from their pod, dude. That is so easy.
Yeah,
A pod is
you'd walk out of-
Lipscomb. We'll play Lipscomb, if that's even how you say it. And then Kansas plays
Kansas
McNeese.
is bad. McNeese is good, but Kansas is bad. And then even if McNeese wins, you're probably.
Is McNeese like a upset watcher?
Yeah, they were really good. Like they were really good last year, so they were popular. But then they drew Gonzaga, which was a bad draw for them, so they got killed.
Where's Gonzaga?
8 seed somewhere, 9 seed somewhere, maybe a 10 seed somewhere.
That is crazy.
All right, so how do we want to talk about this? Do we just like? Because I could go pod by pod and say who do we think would be like the Sweet 16 matchup.
Yeah, we'll do. So you'll do South and West, since Purdue's on the West, and I'll do Midwest and East.
Okay, so
So you
we're
can
gonna
start.
I'll sprint through this. The South, the number 1 overall seed and gets to pick where they want their final to be, their Elite Eight game to be, is Auburn. So they would want to be in the South region so they can get to play in Atlanta, so they get kind of a home advantage, at least location-wise, if they get to the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
Which is funny though, because like the way the bracket works is like they try not to get teams from the same location or same conferences in the same thing. So like you don't want a 1 and 2 seed from the SEC in the same like one bracket. But it's literally impossible this year because of how good the SEC is. So there's a lot of overlapping between the SEC. Like a lot of the 1s and 2s, we're gonna probably like the Elite Eight could probably just be 8 SEC teams with how good the conference is this year, and they could all be 1s and 2s with how good the conference is. But so Auburn's your number 1 overall seed. Just count them as a win. I don't really care. They're not losing to a 16 seed. Then you got Gonzaga versus Utah State. That's your 8-9 matchup. I would say I would have Auburn be my Sweet 16 pick, just because they're probably the best team in the country.
Yeah.
They're scary. Maryland is your 5 seed. Would be ESPN predicts this to be the play-in game between the 12 seed Arkansas and Wake Forest. I'd probably have Wake Forest win that, but that's a loss to Maryland. And then St. John would play Arkansas State, St. John being your 4 seed, and Arkansas State being your 13 seed. I'd probably have St. John be to win that pod, just because they're the best defensive team there, and Pitino's coaching them up really well.
Yeah.
And then this other pod, the 6-11 and 3-14 pod, Ole Miss is your 6 seed. UC San Diego is your 11 seed, who might get an auto bid if they don't even win their conference, as a really small mid-major from a conference that is almost never a 2-bid conference, which is really cool to see. Wisconsin's the 3 seed, and Towson is your 14 seed. I haven't really picked any upsets yet, but I definitely pick UC San Diego to beat Ole Miss. But even then, I don't think Wisconsin is not losing to a 14 seed this year, and then I don't think they lose to
Wisconsin's like scary this year.
Yeah, and then I don't think they lose to UC San Diego, even though UC San Diego is actually really good and a very fun team to watch. So, but I'm gonna have the boring pick. You know what? No, screw it. I'll pick UC San Diego to win this pod because I don't want the full chalk bracket that I'm already seeing.
Okay.
Then the other pod, the last pod of this one, is St. Mary's versus Texas in your 7-10 matchup. St. Mary's is your 10, Texas is your 10, and then Iowa State and Bryant is your 2 versus 15. Iowa State beats Bryant, and then St. Mary's is like one of the best defensive teams in the country. They will just go on in games. I know it's in the not a great conference, but they'll just go games where they like don't allow a team to score for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like insane.
Which is absurd, yeah.
So Iowa State's really cold. So I'll take St. Mary's to win this pod. I'll take their defense to move on to the Sweet 16 if this bracket came out today.
Yeah.
Then we'll move to the West. Florida is your 1 seed. They will be going against Norfolk State, and then Oregon, New Mexico is your 8-9 matchup. Oregon's cold. New Mexico's in the good Mountain West this year. But Florida's moving on out of everybody here. Oregon, New Mexico's kind of a toss-up, but probably just keep it at... Yeah, we'll just say Oregon, even though they've been falling off a cliff in Big Ten conference play. Then the second pod, the 5-12, 4-13, is Marquette and Drake. Drake's been a very good mid-major, but they've struggled as of late, kind of. But Marquette's also been pretty cold in conference play. They aren't winning a lot of games by a lot of points, even though the Big East is not very good this year. Texas Tech plays Akron. Texas Tech's one of the hotter teams in the country. This has them moving down, but they've only lost one game, and before that one game, they were red hot.
Mm-hmm.
So they would be my pick to move on. So I have more, and then Marquette would probably beat Drake, even. So I'll go with more chalk. And then Purdue's pod. Purdue is the projected 3 seed, as we talked about before we started. They'll probably move down to a 4 seed soon. They would play Jacksonville State, and then Clemson's your 6 seed, and they would play 11 seed Vanderbilt. Clemson Vanderbilt would be fun because Vanderbilt has shown the ability to beat really good teams this year and compete with really good teams. They almost beat Tennessee at Tennessee. They had already beat Tennessee this year. They beat Kentucky. Purdue would beat Jacksonville State. No bias. Clemson would probably beat Purdue or Vanderbilt, but then I actually probably think they'd beat Purdue with the way Purdue has played recently. So I'd have Clemson as the Sweet 16 in the West. And then your final pod from the West region is Memphis and BYU as a 7-10 matchup. Memphis being the 10. I'd have BYU winning that. They're coming from the better conference. And Memphis is also really struggling in conference play. They're ranked in the American Conference, but they just lost to Wichita State. And as a whole, they have struggled a lot in the conference. They aren't beating teams by a lot that they should be beating teams by a lot when you see these mid-major conferences with a team this talented. And then Texas A&M would play Montana. I think Texas A&M easily walks to your Sweet 16 in this bracket. Yeah.
None of these are official, by the way.
When is the bracket official?
March 16th is the selection show.
Yeah.
And then
this is just off this bracket.
Yeah.
When's
Obviously,
the first game for it?
March
18th.
Yeah, March 18th.
So
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Because they have the first 4.
Yeah.
So 16th would be Sunday?
Yes.
Yes.
Selection Sunday. Sorry, I went very in-depth. You don't have to do
Nah,
that.
it's
But
okay.
that's
What we
my
could
2 cents
do
on college basketball.
is see about doing a special show Tuesday that day.
The games don't start. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, and the games don't start till 7.
But our shows are on Thursdays, so we could do a special show Tuesday and do our brackets.
Oh.
How's that?
We can just do them.
We'll talk about it.
We'll see.
We can just do them Thursday because the first 4 usually doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of does.
Tuesdays are open though, so
That's true.
so
We
we'll
just do a
see.
show with the 3 of us.
But
We can do a special one time or 1-2 month long show about it. So
Yeah.
we'll see. Brennan, sorry, but you can go back.
So the Midwest region, they got Bama at the number 1 seed right now. They just lost to Missouri last night, so
They'll stay on the 1 seed line, though, because...
Yeah.
well, actually, Houston could jump them, but, other than
I
that...
doubt it, though.
Everybody, at least on this 2 seed... Tennessee's really good, too.
Yeah.
Never mind. Okay, maybe they could get jumped, but I wouldn't bank on it.
Quinnipiac? Is that how you say it?
I think it's just Quinnipiac.
Quinnipiac, 16th seed, Bama advances. And then Creighton and Baylor.
That's crazy, because Creighton's good.
Yeah. And they have them at the 8. Yeah, Creighton's dominating.
They were
Baylor.
just ranked, too.
Baylor's not that good this year. So
Yeah, Creighton's
and then
well
I could see Creighton putting up a fight against Bama. I don't think they. I'll take Bama to go to the Sweet 16 right now, but I just know like Creighton has always.
They're a good tournament team.
Yeah, they're a great tournament team.
They almost lost Purdue last year.
Yeah.
Almost lost to Purdue, but they lost Tennessee first. But they would have lost Purdue if they got there.
For our next pod, Missouri at the 5. They'll move up because they just beat Bama. They'll move up to a 4.
Maybe.
They'll definitely because the arrow's already going up.
Well, so that means they just got moved from a 6 to a 5. So that means they'd have to jump Maryland, who hasn't lost.
Maryland plays Michigan State pretty soon.
Jump Marquette, who hasn't lost. Oh, well, Kansas is dropping
Yeah.
because they just got murdered by BYU.
Yeah, but Kansas is also a 5.
Okay.
Kansas is in the opposite.
Yeah, I know. But it can drop.
Yeah.
Like next on Friday, Missouri could be in a different region.
Yeah.
It's just the way it works out.
So they'll play Yale.
I was just thinking about. Hold on, I was gonna break down the 4 seeds for you. I don't think they'd jump any of the 4 seeds. They won't jump Michigan because Michigan's top. They won't jump Michigan State. The only chance they'd have is if Purdue dropped all the way to a 5, which I don't see
There's
happening.
no way they drop to a 5.
Yeah. But they'll be the highest 5 seed.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Michigan will play High Point. Michigan pretty dominant right now. They're hot. So, and then we'll have Michigan and Missouri. To me, that's a toss-up. I think Missouri definitely has a better offense.
Better offense. They do not turn the ball over the most in any Power 5 team because was Michigan's problem.
Yeah.
Early in the year, they've fixed it these last couple games, but they.
So I would take Missouri to win that, to advance to the Sweet 16 to play Bama or Creighton, but Bama. In our next pod, we got Illinois at the 6 and George Mason as the 11, and then Kentucky at the 3.
That's crazy.
And UNC Greensboro at 14. So
that's insane.
you're saying that which one?
George Mason's that high because that's crazy.
You don't like George Mason?
No, I do.
Or,
It's just cool because with how bad the lower part of the conferences has been, it's every conference has their 10 teams,
Yeah.
and then the drop off after that in the Power 5 conferences is really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So you know who Ryan Hammer is, this guy who covers college basketball. There's a chance a lot of these leagues, the A10, the Big West, which is where UC Irvine, who's on the bubble for this, and UC San Diego are, can be a 2-bid league if one of these teams that's because if UC San Diego didn't win their conference tournament but won out, they'd make the tournament as an audit. They just get it. They should get in at least. And then if UC Irvine won, they'd be a 2-bid conference.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see that these mid-major conferences are
they beating Illinois?
probably not.
So I'll take Illinois there. I'll take Kentucky over UNC Greensboro.
Only,
I'll take
0
Kentucky
upset.
over Illinois to go to the Sweet 16, even though Kentucky disappoints me every year. For our final pod in the Midwest region, 7 versus 10, Mississippi State at the 7 versus Nebraska, and Houston at the 2, playing Cleveland State, the 15. I would probably have Nebraska knocking off Mississippi State as my first kind of upset there. And then I'd have Houston, obviously, and then Houston beating Nebraska to advance to the Sweet 16. Of course, right now, though. And then the East, Duke at the 1. Southern and American, I don't really know what the
16 seeds.
Yeah.
And that'd be your
Duke's not losing. Duke's not losing. UConn, Ohio State. UConn's I don't know. They beat Creighton.
They're good but bad.
I don't think they'll lose first round, especially to Ohio State.
Who's good? Ohio State's good.
Yeah.
But
I don't think I mean I could definitely see it happening, but I'm gonna give it to UConn right now, and then Duke's gonna obliterate UConn.
I wouldn't say obliterate. You gotta think Dan Hurley coaches his team so well. It'd be really fun. Second round matchup. As far as 8-9s go, this is or 8-1 matchups go, this would be really fun to watch UConn and Duke play in just the second round.
Yeah. I don't know. He's a great coach, but I just don't think he has the team to beat Duke.
They seem talented. It's actually pretty talented. They just haven't played to that ability all year.
Kansas and McNeese, like Johnny said, McNeese.
So we just
scary.
take McNeese. There's.
I'll take McNeese. Just
On average, 1-5-12 matchup is one per year by a 12 seed. It's like close to 2 actually.
No, I'll take McNeese then. I'll take McNeese, and then Michigan State and Lipscomb. I'm taking Michigan State obviously, and then Michigan State beat McNeese, and then Michigan State will probably lose to Duke. UCLA and San Diego State or Oklahoma. I'm gonna go with UCLA, and then Arizona and Utah Valley. Obviously Arizona. West Virginia and Louisville as our final pod. I'll take Louisville, and then Tennessee obviously, and then I got Tennessee just riding it to the Elite Eight. It'll be Tennessee and Duke if I had to guess right now.
Probably.
With a chance to go
They
to the
play
Final
two
Four.
good styles of basketball. So we talked about all the teams. Your last 4 in, so the play-in games between not the 16 seeds. It's San Diego State, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Wake Forest. And then I actually want to talk about this. So the first 4 out, VCU's in the A10. So them and George Mason are both right there. So the goal for both of them to get in the tournament is you have George Mason win out, VCU win out, if they don't play each other, obviously. And then in their conference title game, VCU wins, and then you have the odds that both teams make the tournament. Yeah. Georgia's in the first 4 out, SMU's in the first 4 out, North Carolina's in the first 4 out. North Carolina and SMU should be nowhere near the first 4 out. But the bubble's just really bad this year. Then IU's in the next 4 out, Xavier's in the next 4 out, Kansas State's in the next 4 out, and UC Irvine's in the next 4 out, who I was talking about earlier. Same thing with the A10 is you need UC Irvine and UC San Diego to win out, and then in their conference title game, UC Irvine win, and then you can see the chance of both of them getting in.
Yeah.
But Kansas State's been climbing because they've won. They're on a huge hot streak of beating really good teams out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Xavier's kind of falling. Indiana's trending kind of in the middle. They're competing. They're winning the games they should win. They're just losing all the games they shouldn't win.
Yeah.
Except for the Michigan State game. But in that, it's been they lose when they're not favored. They win when they're favored.
Yeah.
It's what it's been all year. Yeah, that's your bubble. I just want to talk about it because, at least, especially from the smaller conferences like the VCUs and the UC Irvines, just because this could be a year where we see a lot of the smaller conferences get 2 bids because of how weak the bubble is, which is cool, and it's fun to see, even though they might not win and probably won't win because they're playing Power 5 schools. It'll be cool to see the more small schools get in. More chances for upsets, more chances for your unknown heroes of the tournament.
Which what makes March Madness. But we ran out of time, so we will not do guess the moment. We will do that next week, 100%.
Yeah.
But this was a special episode of the Blitz.
Yeah,
we'll probably be talking a lot more about March Madness, and obviously, if there's news in the NFL, we'll get it to you guys.
Because,
we'll
as we talked about, the franchise tags are going on, but nobody's really getting franchise tagged.
Yeah. So, I'm your host, Brendan Gagan, joined by
Johnny Clumpy.
And our producer,
Devin Osman,
who's fanning himself out right now. We will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.